Hey, Dad, what's your opinion on the American dream?
Today, there isn't one. We're lost since the assassination of President Kennedy. We might have advanced in technology and a lot of other things, but as far as the stability of our society, it's a wreck. We're not going anywhere.
Well, isn't there a difference between now and 1963?
What, as far as the American dream?
Right.
The population in 1963 versus the population today, percentage-wise, it's much worse.
But isn't everybody, even from back then, still dreaming about the same things?
Well, no, because we are working, or most people are working on the dreams that they can achieve instead of the dreams that they want. It's always plan B. As long as the government is where it is, Congress is where it is, there's no stability. Even major corporations that produce the American dream half the time. I mean, you have people that want to go in executive positions, management, so on and so forth. They're too unsecure. The stability of the American government determines how much is enough for a corporation. And it's never enough as long as there's instability in the government. It doesn't matter what the stock market does. It doesn't matter what the economy does. It doesn't matter what anything in our society. It all matters if the Congress is arguing with the president or amongst themselves. That creates an unsure society. When you have an unsure society, people start grabbing and putting stuff away. If you have pluses in the stock market, more times than not, they're only betting on a sure thing so that they can put more away. It's not an economic expansion, so to speak. It's driving things to a cliff, okay, to where it's not going to take much to push the country over. But once you push the country over, American dream is lost because every other nation is going to want a piece of the United States, one way or another. So the American dream has to be redeveloped from the time before Kennedy. It has to be a reorganization in education, reorganization in colleges, get rid of certain aspects of the stock market, derivatives, so to speak. I mean, there's so many people trying to take the American dream. Let's say you own this house and it's mortgaged. Well, somebody can speculate with your mortgage to where the financial institution you went to in the first place no longer has any say in it. Your house gets foreclosed on because somebody speculated on your mortgage. You can't afford the new payments or the balloon payments, whatever. It's given out, okay. Financial institutions should go to the mortgage holder and get approval first. And then if they make $1 on it, a percentage of that dollar needs to go to the person that owns the house. But it doesn't happen. It's just in financial industry's way of eminent domain. They're taking what you have and doing whatever you want with it to the point where you're just paying rent. Unless you're fortunate enough to be able to pay it off and not have to put a second mortgage on it, so on and so forth. Okay, you have to have a quality of life before you can have an American dream. And that is not happening. There's too many things that the government is allowing to make it a sure thing, or even 10% of a sure thing. It just isn't going to happen. Everything needs to be reorganized from the bottom up, and no single thing can be addressed to fix any part of the rest. It all has to be done at once because we are too big. If you want the American dream, it starts with the people first. You go in, you vote, you create an addition to the Constitution where who you're voting for cannot take their party in the office. When you don't have party in the office, you don't have a lobby. A lobby and party go hand in hand in government. Once you have a representative working solely for you, then the American dream becomes a reality.
Okay. So, well, what is the American dream?
Whatever you want it to be, if it's made possible. What do you want to be?
Well, I always
You had a goal when you were growing up in school? What was it?
I always thought the American dream was to white picket fence, dog, cat, the family.
No, that's not an American dream. You have to have a financial stability before you can even have some contentment in the house. Back when you were growing up, I was working 16 hours a day. I didn't have time for you. I didn't have time for the family because I was too busy trying to make ends meet. And without making ends meet, my kids can't go to school and clean clothes, you don't eat right, and then once all that starts to happen, somebody takes notice and then the government steps in and then you have more problems. So I was forcing myself to work long, hard hours because of the fact that I wanted the government to stay out of my business. And to keep the government out of my business, you had to be relatively happy. Everybody had to see that you had clean clothes, that you weren't dirty. You know what I'm saying? That you were eating in school.
But I always thought that was the government's job to.
No. It's not the government's job. The government's job is to manage certain aspects of society to where we don't have to see that. That we don't have homelessness, we don't have poverty, we don't have hunger, okay? And the government doesn't do that. We're giving away more to other nations in aid than we are putting one in ourselves. And once you fail to do that, it's no different than you taking a second mortgage out on your house and you're giving it all to charity. You simply can't afford to do that. And our government needs to operate with the same structure. If we can't afford it, it doesn't happen. If we don't get our job rate down, our taxes down, we can't afford to do things. I mean, disaster, sure. But paying Egypt to prevent them from attacking Israel, I mean, that's millions of dollars out of our pocket just to keep somebody else safe. And what is happening here? I mean, it's veterans are not taken care of, police officers are not taken care of, teachers are not taken care of, education's a mess. You have school boards doing whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want. There's no organization. You can't have an American dream when you're being assaulted by so many different things that the government has no control over, even though they are supposed to control it. Okay? We need to dig deep down within ourselves and say, okay, we're not going to elect a Democrat or a Republican or a Tea Party. We are going to handpick our representative. That representative is going to handle things like it's supposed to be, or they resign. I mean, it has to be like that. Recall vote, whatever you want to do. But the representative you pick is already going to understand that things have to be a certain way. They have no room to play with any lobby or any party. They can't take your taxpayer dollars and go help another candidate get elected, okay, on our time. They want to do it out of their own pocket on their own time, then that's it. That's fine. But once you take a party, you take a lobby, and it goes into office. And that's where your chaos in government begins. They are too busy fighting over money, taxpayer dollars to go to special interests than fighting over taxpayer dollars to the American people. The American dream doesn't exist until we as a whole put it on the table.
Okay. All right. That's the American dream.